So, what's upsetting Richard?
Audiences cheering. I mean, that could be enough. But audiences cheering at the name of the town in which they reside. I just don't see why you need to emit that sound. I mean, you know, I'm from Ipswich, so obviously I can't emit joy. So it seems very strange to me. I've never understood it. You say Hull. Way! It seems odd. I don't know what I'm meant to do with that information. Are you happy about Hull? You're happy. OK.
I think it's a form of missionary work, isn't it?
OK.
It's that man saying, you probably think it's terrible coming from Hull.
No,
but in fact, it's...
Right.
Hey!
OK.
I think that's he's selling Hull as a concept.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a long pitch for Hull. It makes me feel like everyone's been hypnotised. And someone said, when your town's name is mentioned, obviously, you'll have to go, hey! And someone's gone, and they've never been snapped back out of it.
What is Catherine's choice?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is DJs that join in at the end of the song. I mean, I love the radio. I've not listened to your show on the radio because it's too early, but I love the radio in the morning.
It's a podcast. But carry on.
So I love the radio in the morning, and, you know, you're listening to a song, they've played maybe, you know, Elvis in the Ghetto or something really moving, a storytelling song. You're in that special place, looking out the window at the morning happening, and then they just have to crash in and butcher it over the last 2 bars because they can't not hear the sound of their own voice for more than 20 seconds. I have actually almost lifted up the radio and thrown it through the kitchen window because it completely destroys. What's the point in playing a song if you're not going to let people get to the nice moment at the end when the song has finished and done its work?
Yes.
Do you do this? Am I putting you into Room 101?
I don't do it that much.
Oh, I didn't realise you did it.
I don't do it off. I interrupt it. I played Vertigo by U2 a while back, and in the middle of it, I came in and started talking.
In the middle? That's even worse.
Because they had interrupted my iTunes music with their album. They started it. What's Noel's choice?
Spiders.
Oh, that's... It was like they had a debate first. Shall we applaud?
Whole gamut of emotions.
Yeah. So why? Why spiders?
Well, I recently went to Australia and that was a whole nother ball game. I mean, I'm frightened of spiders here, but in Australia, they are massive. I mean, literally, one picked me up at the airport. In a taxi.
It's still on your head.
It's quite good when we got to the hotel, though, because he picked up all my bags.
But, I mean, they're properly dangerous in Australia as well.
Yeah,
so
well, they can kill you. You know, like here in England, the thing is, in England, you do the sort of postcard cup technique, you know, you try and trap. In Australia, there was one this is a true story. Me and my brother were sharing a hotel, doing a bush tour, and there was a huntsman, it's called. And it literally was this big, right, on the wall. So we couldn't even get it in a mug. I had to go to the kitchen and get a mixing bowl, yeah? And we had to use an album. I used Abbey Road, right? This is a true story. And because mixing bowls, they're see-through, they're sort of magnifying. So it was that big anyway. When I put the mixing bowl, its head was bigger than mine. I could see its cheekbones. It was awful. And so I slid the album underneath it and took it outside and I put it out. And it didn't even just go in the bushes. It walked down the sidewalk like a man. Like a man would. It just went off. Crossed the zebra crossing. Must have got the idea from Abbey Road.
Wings does an angel have? Depends.
That's not really an answer, that's I don't know.
Renaissance angels tend to have two.
Yeah.
I said Renaissance angels.
Oh. Well, Sam, it's like this.
What's
The
your
angel Matt
reckon?
has had 4 wings. 4.
Well, you could be right, but it rather depends on the kind of angel.
That's literally what I said. It depends on the kind of angel.
There's 2 kinds of angels in the Bible with wings. There's seraphim and cherubim. So seraphim have 6 wings and the cherubim have 4. There is no angel in the Bible that has 2 wings.
Oh, sorry, you meant
Actual angels.
I do apologise, I was talking
I'm
about
sorry.
representation.
This is the woman happy to talk for hours about the home life of the Hobbit.
That's real, Sandy. It's very different. It's based on fact.
So the seraphim, that's the highest in the angel hierarchy. That's the sort of fiery, burning ones. They are described as, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. So,
So he was like, and then also flying.
Yeah.
I'm a shy angel.
The cherubim have got 4 wings, as well as they also have 4 faces, a man, lion, ox, and an eagle. The bit I'm not sure about, so you get Gabriel in Islam as an angel of revelation, but there's a hadith that he had 600 wings. I would have thought that would be tricky to operate.
He had a hang gliding business.
I was coming back on the train from Scotland the other day and I went past the Angel of the North. It is an astonishing thing when you see it.
Yeah.
It is one of the most visible pieces of art in the world. It is seen by 1 person every second on average.
And it spins. You can give it a whack. And...
It's the largest art statue in the world. So that wingspan is 54 metres. It's longer than a Boeing 747. And the reason it can withstand 100-mile-per-hour winds, it goes as far below the ground as it does
Like a
above.
tree.
Yeah. So it's sort of dug in.
But it isn't an angel, because it's only got 2 wings.
Yeah, I need to have a word and say, you just need another 598. There was a miniature Angel of the North in 2008. So the designer, Anthony Gormley, had made some miniatures, you know, just to sort of check out how it was going to work. And that item was the very first item valued at £1 million on the Antiques Roadshow. It had been standing in the offices of Gateshead Council for 13 years.
Imagine being the person queuing behind them on the yeah. With your little vase.
Yeah.
I've got these egg cups. They're in my nuts cupboard.
Yeah.
They smell a bit of me now, actually.
Just Boris, was it? I mean, Prince Charles, he's a great champion of sustainability, and he went to COP26, which coincidentally is the number of palaces that the royal family had. And many of them are not used for much of the year, except as safe houses for Prince Andrew. And he also flew down to London on a private flight. He could at least have catched a lift in Boris's private flight, couldn't he? I mean, who does the PR for these people? O.J. Simpson or something?
And Leonardo DiCaprio was there, and he made a big thing about flying commercial.
Yes.
But you're like, he can't write any legislation. Like, what? He could just zoom in. He doesn't need to be there at all.
Yes. He's very interested in protecting the children of the future and girlfriends of the future. Many of whom have yet to be conceived. What else does Suella Braverman want to ban?
Homeless people? Tents. People using tents.
That's right. I mean, if she was just trying to ban camping, I'd be behind her.
But then you'd have to word that bill very carefully.
You would. You would.
There'd be a lot of pantomime to be out of business.
That's right.
I'm on in Richmond this year, by the way.
Yes, she is trying to ban tents. She said sleeping on the streets is a lifestyle choice. Nobody in Britain should be living in a tent. It's a surprise that more people don't choose to live in opulence.
Homelessness is a lifestyle choice. It's the last time I buy a big issue. If it can help the homeless, I help you live your dream more, like bugger off. Loving it.
If Philly and Hollaby had gone through the...
Billy and Hollaby?
That's how they're calling themselves now. If they'd gone through the proper queue It might have upped the numbers a bit, but they weren't actually record figures of attendance, were they?
No, apparently they were slightly down.
Why do you think there were fewer people for this?
The internet. People have other things now. And the telly. You can watch it on the telly.
Live feed, ironically.
Well, the other reason is that on previous occasions, people have travelled to London from all parts of the country, but it's much harder to travel these days, isn't it?
What is going on here? Yes, Steph.
Right, Esmeralda, really cross mother. Esmeralda's child, Emily Mungbean, had a party and baby turned up in a cow suit and the mother was a vegan and got very upset and kicked the baby out.
It's the right answer, yes. A toddler was thrown out of a vegan's child's party for wearing a cow onesie, at least according to the Sun's website. We know where you get your news from. Which ran the story back in April. This is, in fact, a totally made-up story from a spoof website called Southend News Network. The Sun might have smelt a rat when they first read the article. For a start, the name of the kid in the cow costume is listed as Tanya Hyde. And the vegan birthday boy's mother is Esmeralda Sawyer Beanton. Who apparently stood by her decision, saying, "You wouldn't take your child to a Muslim birthday party dressed as a side of gammon." Anyone else dress their kid up inappropriately?
Yeah. It was recently London Appreciation Day or something, and I don't know a lot of famous Londoners, and I forgot to dress my daughter, so I just packed her a bacon sandwich and told her she was Ed Miliband.
The internet has seen an inappropriately dressed kid. Here is a toddler Hannibal Lecter.
No way.
And I'm not sure the fin in this knitted shark costume is in the right place. So, well done. Steph, you got that right. You get the point.
The next episode of the demise of Theresa May, who's gone from being the Iron Lady to sort of flatter version, like the Ironed Lady, instead.
So nothing is happening. There was a big coup. We thought we were going to get, you know, a new Prime Minister, but no.
It's a bit like a very dull, slow Attenborough, isn't it? Where the same wounded wildebeest just keeps limping across the plain, and the hyenas can't quite get organised enough to kill her off. Basically what it is now.
Yes, it's about the week of plotting and infighting in the Tory party. There was speculation this week that Theresa might demote Boris Johnson in a reshuffle. Why might that not work?
He said he won't be demoted.
That's absolutely right. According to The Telegraph, allies of Boris warned that if May tried to demote him, he would just say no. We learnt more about the principal stance Boris Johnson took when he decided to back Brexit last year. What was that?
Well, he confessed to someone that he changed his mind and became a leaver just to annoy Cameron.
Yeah.
Sorry. He confessed it in an interview?
Yes, well, according to the Mail, so... Do you call that an interview?
Can we edit that bit out so people believe it?
Yeah. Well, according to a reputable paper...
Can we edit that bit out as well? It was to Lord Adonis.
Lord Adonis.
Can you imagine being called Lord Adonis?
Hey.
It's quite a lot to live up to in the morning.
Lord Adonis. That's my safe word. I'm only joking. You're never safe with me.
Anybody a fan of Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So the guy who came up with the technology, Gamgee...
Samwise Gamgee.
Yes,
Frodo's best friend.
So...
Who never let him down, no matter what anyone said. I'll stay with you, Master Frodo. Give me your hand. That's what I do. Give your hand.
I don't know if I fancy you more or less, Mel.
I'm going to go with less.
Okay. Hados Hedos Legolas. That's sit down Legolas.
It's definitely less.
Anyway, he is named
After that man?
No, not after him, after his brother. His brother was called J. Sampson Gamgee.
Yeah.
And he is the person who invented that surgical dressing where you get cotton wool between two pieces of absorbent gauze.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was known as Sampson Gamgee, and Sam Gamgee is most likely that Tolkien got the name from him. It is my connection between the Hobbit and ice skating just for you
I
as a
love
Christmas
it.
present.
Brilliant.
I auditioned for The Hobbit.
What? I don't know if I fancy you more or more.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it.
To be what, then?
The Hobbit.
Bilbo, you auditioned to be Bilbo Baggins.
I auditioned to be Bilbo Baggins, and the day before...
I'm going to blow your mind now, but go on, carry on.
They brought down the maximum height. And my agent phoned me, she said, how tall are you? And I said, I'm 5'6½". And
how tall do you want me to be? That's what you said. Never accept the premise of the question. Find out what they want.
So you didn't go?
No, they said we brought down the maximum height, but I still qualified. I was short enough to be a Hobbit.
And?
I went. And I was dog shit.
I also auditioned for something in that.
Did you?
Now, they said you'll be 4 hours a day in makeup in New Zealand. Is that OK? And I went, yep.
How tall are you?
How tall do you want me to be?
I went for a part for Frodo.
Did you?
Yeah, and they went, you're a bit tall, you look more like an elf, get out.
I really wanted an audition.
You're the right size and everything.
I don't think you'd have been professional on set.
I wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
I
so
would
you'd
have
have been
been so
like, can
excited.
someone remove this crying woman, please?
This is the exciting news that everything is open except it isn't.
Yes, this is the now familiar confusion surrounding the government's COVID advice on travel. What is the government's position on foreign travel?
It's a traffic light, and it's a new system from the government, and there's red, white and blue. And anybody who disagrees with it should probably be shot.
Yes, very good. Yes.
Red don't go, amber don't go unless it's an absolute family emergency, and green you can go. And I think there's only, is it Portugal and the Falkland Islands or something on
That's
green?
exactly right. Amber also, if you're an Instagram influencer, you're allowed to go.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, it is.
That's what
Was that one of the exceptions?
Yes, because that's essential business.
Oh, is that?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God, so we all need to sign up to being Instagram influencers and then we can go on holiday?
Like you're not an Instagram influencer. You are.
Okay, is this when I can put my Instagram account out and ask everybody to follow me?
I mean, listen, very best of luck. Go on.
It's not his finest hour. Anyway, he didn't invent that bus pass. That wasn't true either. She would have been entitled to go on the bus all day and keep warm anyway.
Lucky Elsie.
Yes. We do spoil them. Yes.
There was another very, very good moment. Susanna Reid said to him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "We're doing everything we can." And she said, "But could you do more?" And he said, "Yes."
Boris Johnson, of course, got into some trouble during the course of an interview before the election for saying he didn't know who Lorraine was.
Did you see the way Ian's eyes glazed over there?
I know who she is. She invented a quiche.
Exactly.
So what's Noel's choice?
Spiders.
Oh, It was like they had a debate first. Shall we applaud?
Whole gamut of emotions.
Yeah. So why? Why spiders?
Well, I recently went to Australia and that was a whole nother ball game. I mean, I'm frightened of spiders here, but in Australia, they are massive. I mean, literally, one picked me up at the airport. In a taxi.
It's still on your head.
It's quite good when we got to the hotel, though, because he picked up all my bags.
But, I mean, they're properly dangerous in Australia as well.
Yeah,
so
well, they can kill you. You know, like here in England, the thing is, in England, you do the sort of postcard, cup technique, you know, you try and trap. In Australia, there was one in... This is a true story. Me and my brother were sharing a hotel, doing a bush tour, and there was a huntsman, it's called, and it literally was this big, right, on the wall. So we couldn't even get it in a mug. I had to go to the kitchen and get a mixing bowl, yeah? And we had to use an album. I used Abbey Road, right? This is a true story. And because mixing bowls, they're see-through, they're sort of magnifying. So it was that big anyway. When I put the mixing bowl, its head was bigger than mine. I could see its cheekbones. It was awful. And so I slid the album underneath it and took it outside and I put it out and it didn't even just go in the bushes. It walked down the sidewalk like a man. Like a man would. It just went off. Crossed the zebra crossing. Must have got the idea from Abbey Road.
What is the worst thing you can do on a bed of nails?
Fall from a great height.
I would say.
I'd say an orgy. I'd say to get nailed on some nails would be a terrible thing.
Well, here's the thing. So I think you could have an orgy if you were fantastically careful about how you got on and off.
Are we talking about the nails or the people?
It's about the even distribution of weight across the nails.
It is,
So
I did do this. I
Did
went
you?
on a bed of nails with a contortionist. What a night that was.
I filmed it.
And he showed me how to lie down. It's all right if you're lying down, but he said, be very careful, because your instinct when you get up is to put your weight on your hands.
Yeah.
And then that really hurts a lot.
When I was at school one afternoon, for some reason, some circus skills people came round and tried to teach us all circus skills.
I love the heavy note of disapproval in your voice. Absolute waste of bloody time!
I was 7. You can learn circus skills later. What I needed was maths. And they came round and said, you know, tried to teach us how to juggle. We couldn't juggle. Tried to put clown makeup on. Some of us had an allergic reaction, you know. But one of the things was the bed of nails, and they taught us how to lie on a bed of nails. And the way you lie on a bed of nails is you just lie on it and it's fine.
it's about getting on and off. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. So let's have a look and see if test this out. If you've got a very small bed of nails underneath the desk there, if you bring it out.
I'm not going on the bottom.
Now, all if you would take a seat.
Take a balloon and place the balloon on the bed of nails. Now, apply the pressure evenly.
That clearly is as a condom.
See, that's your big problem with having an orgy on a bed of nails.
If you press down
Press
on the
it.
wood evenly,
Yeah.
it can withstand it for quite a long time.
Can I put some real
Go
weight
on,
on
but
it?
burst it, burst it.
Go on,
Get-
let's have a go.
You've done, look, a lot.
I'll try again.
A fantastic amount of pressure.
Great, I've got condom up my nose.
Again.
OK. Put your beds of nails away. Let's have a quick look. We've got some video here of a woman. Now, look how she gets on. OK, now watch. This is actually slightly terrifying. So she lies on the bed of nails, and then an anvil left over from the Roadrunner cartoons. I know.
Anvil in the boobs is worse than some nails in the back.
And rather pleasingly, a couple of spots which have been nicely popped there.
Maybe that's going to be the new pampering. You know, it turns out
lying on a
that's
bed of nails?
really good for the skin. You just get on the nails, anvil, couple of guys with some hammers.
Suggest, if you may, some uses of kitty litter that don't involve a kitty. Oh. I've got some kitty litter.
Anyone could use it for absorbing their urine, couldn't they?
Well, you could use it in the same way that a kitty would use it, yeah, because it does soak up.
Can you, like, when you drop your phone in the loo, you're supposed to put it in a tub of rice to get the moisture out?
Indeed.
Can you do that with cat
There's
litter?
an episode of Elementary which is based on that very fact.
There's an episode of Jonathan Crete where I weed in some cat litter. The character Jonathan.
Let's work backwards as to how that could possibly be a plot line that you peed.
I just got trapped in the cellar for ages and I needed a wee.
Oh, I see.
When you're at school, when people throw up, don't they put cat... I don't know
Sawdust. That's a good thing to do. Exactly. Anything like that.
I used to have this sort of weird brown sand.
Yeah, and they say there's nothing to see here, but there is, isn't there?
Yes.
It's a really good
There's a lot to see.
Also, they would draw a chalk line round it like it had died.
The scene of a body.
The skill was to make it in the shape of a dead body.
Like a mammal. A raccoon has died.
It's always a bit of fun to put it in a sugar bowl
so that when somebody adds it to their tea, just tea's gone.
Probably the most profitable use, bizarrely, was by the American tobacco industry. Can you imagine why that might be? There's a tax on tobacco, obviously. There was a tax on small cigars, and American tobacco companies...
Filters in filters?
They bulked up their small cigars to become big cigars, using, amongst other things, the ingredients of cat litter, which is disgusting. That's a big cigar.
I think that's someone's leg.
That's
eating someone.
That is enormous.
I think they bulked that one up too much.
That's a normal-sized cigar, I think, but she's just a very small woman.
They apparently reduced their tax take on tobacco by over $1 billion this way, by bumping small cigars into the big cigar category.
But unfortunately, a lot of cats left up weed on their faces. I'm going to celebrate the deal.
Why did they choose kitty litter as
it was because it's a kind of neutral stuff that burns, that doesn't really taste of anything unpleasant, and is cheap, and it isn't tobacco, so it doesn't have a tax on it.
What about just some soil, maybe? That would be cheaper than
The trouble with the soil is it wouldn't burn, and it would taste unpleasant.
What about air? It's a foot pump.
There's still some helium, so that you just have your cigar and you don't have to hold it. You just take your hand away, it just floats there like that, and then you can just go back to it.
And then you go, this is a lovely cigar. It's enormous.
So it's highly flammable. So basically, if a kitten...
It's not highly flammable. You just burn it like tobacco.
It doesn't go...
It doesn't go... you can put a cupful of litter in a pair of tights. Bear with me. Tie off the top and leave it in your shoes overnight for freshness. There's a hint. Yes, audience good. Someone's going to try that in the audience. Someone's got a teenage son with smelly trainers. Trainers?
Is that what we're doing?
What are you doing to me? I said trainers.
Oh, yeah, he's laughing now. Any minute now, I'll go...
Now, here's something nice. Cake. So you've each got a cake and a knife, and here is the challenge, OK? I want you to cut 2 pieces of exactly equal size. You can use 3 cuts to do it, but in such a way that the cake is still moist for you to have some more tomorrow. What would be the best way of cutting it?
Could the cake stay moist in my tummy? Is that just half
Yes, you could just halve it. No. So the idea is that there's cake for tomorrow.
Right.
So we're going to start with Alan and Colin first. What is your...
Well, my theory...
Yes?
...is that we cut through the middle.
OK.
It's going to be difficult, but we're going to do it.
Right.
And then we take the top off.
OK.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we eat the bottom bit.
You're going to eat the whole of the bottom bit, is that? Yeah. But that's quite a large piece of cake, isn't it?
Yeah. We're 2 men in our 30s. We love cake. I'll take the top off.
Yeah.
Carl's going to remove the bottom of the cake.
Right.
And then put the top back down again. That's moist for tomorrow.
Right.
And then we cut this, paste that there.
Yeah.
We cut this completely in half,
Right.
like that. 2 equal pieces.
Wow, that's very good. Do you think anybody who likes the filling is going to be mildly disappointed?
That's right.
So let's go over to...
I think I've got an idea.
No, do it with the cake. Yeah.
I'm just going to draw it first.
Oh, fine. OK,
Is
so...
that OK?
Yes, darling, you do what you like.
Yeah. What if we cut it, like, in a way that we could back together?
Yeah. We cut like a bit out of there and then a bit out of there and then just...
Yeah, just... That'd be better, wouldn't it, than cutting...
Do you want to do it?
I mean, that was a shambles, what they did.
Smushing doesn't sound good.
But I reckon we have to do this first.
Do you think?
Yeah, go on. It's good.
OK, go for it, Sarah.
OK, so... Oh, it's tough.
Yeah, so no, delicious is what you're looking for.
And then...
You've just drawn Pac-Man. That doesn't make any sense.
So take out your pieces.
These are our pieces. Noel, were you calling us a shambles? Is that what you were saying? There you go.
mathematical way of doing it. There was a man called Francis Galton. He's an extraordinary fellow. He was an explorer. He was the very first person to come up with the idea of a weather map. And he also was slightly obsessed with the idea of sharing a Christmas cake with his wife in an even manner. So what he did was he wrote a rather long treatise on the subject, which he sent to Nature magazine. You're absolutely heading in the right direction. So what you do is you cut right down the middle like this, and then you pull out the entire centre piece.
That was it.
That's only 2 cuts, though.
Oh, wait, I haven't finished.
OK.
So you pull out the whole thing like
Then
this,
you squish
and then you
it
cut that one in
Oh,
half.
Yeah.
So then you have 2 pieces.
We were nearly there.
Oh, you were very nearly there. You have 2 pieces of cake like that, and then you simply push the cake back together.
Did that
and it will
about-
stay there. So, anyway, that's how you can halve your cake, and here we go. What mistake did Picasso make when he painted this?
He put lots of glue on the frame.
Yeah, they can't get their hands
Can't
up.
get their hands up. Oh, no! Picasso's done the gluey frame thing again.
He left 2 snooker referees holding it.
Does anybody know what the picture is?
It's Marie-Therese Walter.
Yes.
She was underage, but no, I don't know.
She was 17.
Yeah.
She was underage for what?
For doing what he was doing with her. He was 45 when they met. She's Picasso's mistress. But when he painted this, who didn't know that she existed in his life?
Oh, his wife?
Yeah, so the mistake was, even with the picture looking like that, his wife, Olga Koklova, recognised that it was somebody else. So that's Marie-Therese Walter on the left there.
He picked her up, didn't he?
Yes.
What did he...
He's like, come on, I reckon I'm Pablo Picasso. I don't know. She's not a
Was she a horse?
Basically, he wasn't a nice guy. He wasn't
Oh, no, he's a prick biscuit.
Yes.
That's a horse. Prick biscuit.
I bet on that. 2-1, brick biscuits. Of the 7 most important women in his life, 2 killed themselves and 2 went mad. It's not a good track record, frankly.
No.
We've got a picture of La Rêve, which is the dream, which also has Marie-Therese.
It's also got his cock on her face.
Yes. If you look at the one on the right, that's his penis on top of her head.
Isn't that part of her head?
No.
Yeah.
Well, it was when he put it there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I see, yes.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. That. So
do you think, did he say, yeah, that's my penis, or did he just accidentally...
Basically, it's an erotic thing. It's that she's dreaming about sex as well as enjoying it.
That's terrible nap technique. Like, I'm gonna do...
You get so stiff in the neck.
That's true.
It's so stiff, did you say?
Stiff in the neck.
It looks like she's on a plane, doesn't it? Very small seat, and he's the row behind putting his cock in her.
This is the kind of art criticism you rarely see. We could not find pie in the sky, but we can find beer. Where would we find beer in the sky?
Oh, in space.
In space, about 10,000 light years from Earth.
Did someone lob a can up? It's just like this.
Here is an incredible thing. There is a giant cloud of alcohol with enough ethyl alcohol for 400 trillion pints of beer. That is enough for every person on Earth to drink 300,000 pints every day for 1 billion years.
Why are we living here?
Because it's spiked with hydrogen cyanide.
Classic.
I know.
Damn those Russians.
The intriguing thing is that the cloud contains ethyl formate, so that is it's the chemical compound that helps give raspberries their taste.
Oh.
And it reportedly smells like rum. It seems that the centre of our galaxy may taste and smell like raspberry-flavoured rum.
Oh, my God.
Can I just ask, when you say it reportedly smells like rum...
Yeah.
Who reported it?
Well, we know what the chemical is and we know what the chemical smells like, but nobody's been there.
Right.
You could
I'm here
volunteer.
now.
Yeah.
What's it smell like? What's it smell like?
I mean, it could be blackberries. I think it's raspberries. Doris disagrees.
Have you had raspberries for breakfast?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Now I think of it.
People who do those wine things, isn't it? It's like, I'm getting blackcurrant, I'm getting running naked through heather.
skirting boards. I'm getting skirting boards and linoleum. You've fallen over.
Getting the action of someone stretching a turtle's neck. Slash skipping rope.
Alcohol in the Air, 2017, there was a fraternity party, a Tequila Tuesday, at a fraternity house called Sigma Alpha Epsilon in Bethesda in Maryland. They drank so much alcohol that the ambient air in the house failed a breathalyzer test.
That is brilliant.
I used to take my kids to this music group. I said, where does it take place? They said, it's in the rugby club, in the bar. I went into the bar, which is carpeted. I don't think any bar should ever be carpeted. Now, that ambient air would have failed a breathalyzer test. And all the toddlers were pissed as fuck. They were singing Show Me the Way to Go Home.
What's the most mysterious thing you do in bed?
You regrow, you regenerate your body parts, don't you?
OK,
At night. That's what I call it, anyway. What are you doing in there? I'm regenerating!
Do you mean that there are bits that are broken? You mend them, is that what you mean?
Don't you grow a new liver every 7 years or something? There's no bit of you that is actually the age that you are.
No, I think it's every 10 years you're a totally new person.
You're totally new, bones,
Yes,
everything.
No, you don't grow gums back. Gums recede and they don't come back. You can't go, oh, I think I'm going to grow my gums long this year.
It's probably quite good that the gums don't keep growing and growing and growing. Imagine having to get them trimmed. That's going to be an extremely bloody...
What do you do for a living? I'm a gum dresser.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to get head to toe in plastic. It's like CSI. When someone comes in for a long overdue gum trimming.
You have to show them the back of their gums.
Yeah. So, the most thing that we do in bed, all of us...
Dreaming.
Breathing.
It's sleeping. We have no idea. It is the most mysterious thing that we do in bed because we just don't know why we do it. Why would you end the day unconscious and basically paralysed and leave yourself available to attack by predators unless there is some fantastic evolutionary benefit that outweighs the risk? And the fact is, we just don't know. People have thought it was to do with energy conservation.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous because you actually don't save much energy.
Really?
No, not when you sleep, no.
How many days can you go without sleep for before you die?
If you stay awake for 17 hours, it's the same as having 2 glasses of wine in terms of how it would affect your performance.
Red wine or white wine? If it was white wine, then I'll just start crying.
Oh, would you? Oh, you're bad drunk.
Yeah, I'd never once drunk more than 2 glasses of white wine and not use the phrase, why don't you just dump me then?
Even to people who you're not in a relationship.
No, you save about 110 calories each night, so a 2-finger Kit Kat is 107. It's not a lot, is it?
But that's the only energy saving.
That's the only energy saving.
So when you wake up in the morning, you can have a 2-finger Kit Kat?
Help yourself.
Gratis.
Yeah, it totally wipes it all out, frankly.
It's a classy breakfast.
Morning, everyone.
So the theory that I like best, there have been some scientists at the University of Rochester Medical Center in New York, and they think it's when our brains are cleaned. There's a professor, Maiken Nithergork, and she says you can think of it like having a house party. You can either entertain the guests or clean up the house, but you can't really do both at the same time. That's the theory. But how much you sleep depends on your own circadian rhythm. So I didn't sleep very much. Anybody here a good sleeper?
I've got a 5-month-old baby, so I only sleep in hour-and-a-half chunks at the moment.
So have you just come for a break just tonight?
This is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Are you a good sleeper now? Do you sleep well?
Yeah, I can sleep a lot, yeah.
Apparently what you should do to find out how much you need to sleep is you should spend a week not having an alarm clock at all, and you should let your body just wake up when it needs to and log how many hours, and if you need 6 hours and you need to get up at 7 a.m, then you know what time you've got to go to bed.
Yes, but Sandy, you need a wee at 5.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah, it's very annoying. And it's not like you particularly have that much wee to do.
You get there and you think, why have you woken me up for that? I would rather have just left that in the bed. We could have just done it in the morning.
Also, sometimes, in the middle of the night wee, you can start thinking about something stressful or get frightened by noises in the house.
Who is the next Rembrandt?
Who was the last one? Has there been one since him?
It's a sort of philosophical question, isn't it? What do we think about this picture here? Is this a Rembrandt?
That is definitely Rembrandt.
No.
It didn't go
off. Well, it is and it isn't.
It looks like Rembrandt.
It looks like Rembrandt. It's a classic Rembrandt portrait. Caucasian man in his 30s, black clothes, wide-brimmed hat.
No arms.
Collar, no arms. Moustache, goatee, slightly in profile to the right. It's a classic portrait. But what it is, it's a 2016 project called The Next Rembrandt.
Oh, is it a computer?
Yeah. It's done by a computer. Well, artists and data crunchers analysed 346 Rembrandt paintings and they created a new one in his style. Not just the look of it, but in terms of the colour schemes, in terms of the facial structure and the brushstrokes. So it's been 3D printed, but with 13 layers of paint, so that even the height and depth of the brushstrokes is the way in which Rembrandt would have painted, but it's been done by a computer.
So, tell me, why do we need this?
Well, you know, why do the scientists do anything? Just to see what they can do, don't they?
What I love about science, and one of the things that we discover all the time on this show, is that a thing that you think, what is the point of doing that? You find that there is some scientific purpose behind it. So when you analyse something, how did you paint something? Maybe you learn how to preserve a painting. Maybe you learn something about the way
I hope they learned something, but...
Sure, I would imagine.
Just another straight white man in a painting. Just like... They could have inserted someone else in there.
Yeah, the computer inserts itself.
Yeah.
Just a laptop.
So who was the first person to fraudulently produce Rembrandts?
Rembrandt himself.
Yes, absolutely right. Well, extra point for Alan. So there used to be more than 650 official Rembrandts. That's gone down by about 50 or 60%. They can now identify the genuine Rembrandts, and most likely a lot of them were him signing them. So in those days, students would come and study with a master. He had about 25 students at any one time working, and he was teaching them. Copying was a perfectly legitimate way of teaching.
If they're doing a big canvas, they'd have teams of people working on, wouldn't they? You do the trees, do the mountain in the background, I'll come in, do the baby Jesus.
Yeah, they wouldn't think of it as cheating.
But that was a Renaissance thing. There wasn't an artist who did it. It was a team that did it.
I think Michelangelo worked alone, but apparently he stank. And he was quite antisocial, so obviously...
Didn't
he
have
had
a
one
team.
assistant called Greg who had a bad sense of smell. He was mainly at Pret getting him salads.
Some big Michelangelo painting. You see the one at the back with the clothes peg on his nose? That's Greg.
Now, one reason fake news has taken hold is because the truth is often stranger than fiction. I've been wading in the mainstream of media to dig out some of the weirdest true stories, and I've been having a go at making up some of my own. And I want you to buzz in and say whether these are real headlines or ones I've made up. Here we go. Otters the size of wolves once roamed the planet. Yes.
True. I like to think it's true, because otters are quite cute. If you made them bigger, they'd be even cuter, I think.
It's true, correct.
That's nice.
Royal family fined for not hitting diversity targets.
I think it's false, but it's rather
false.
lovely.
Study about butter, funded by Butter Industry, finds that butter is bad for you.
True.
It's true, correct.
I can't believe it's not butter. That's where all fake news started.
Yeah.
Putin was behind that.
Moth with blonde hair and small genitalia named after Trump.
I saw that story this week.
It's true, yes. No respect, Jeremy Corbyn signs official documents in jam.
True.
No! He wouldn't sign documents in jam.
He was in a traffic jam.
Oh.
They don't give him documents to sign.
David Cameron says he names birds after Boris Johnson before shooting them.
False.
It's not, he does.
I love your outrage when we get it wrong. How on earth would we know?
Man caught trying to sell his infant son for £9,000 so he could buy his wife a car.
That was me.
Well, it might well have been, because it's true. That's a true story. Yes, a man really was caught trying to sell his son for £9,000 so he could buy his wife a car.
No.
The baby was 5 months old.
My baby is officially 5 months old this week. Could you tell me, did he get... I don't know, did he get the £9,000?
I'll offer you 8 for yours, with that.
Oh, interesting. I need to look on Auto Trader to see what I could get.
So, let's take a look at the final scores. Richard and Alt-Rich are last with 1,200,000 clicks, but Katherine and John are the winners with 1,750,000 clicks. So, it's bad luck to our losers. We are now going to be releasing some compromat material on both of you. Richard, I'm afraid we've got some devastating images of you and some Russian girls in a hotel room having a great time with the pointless board game. Alt-Rich, I'm afraid now the whole world will know that you are into water sports. So it's thanks to our brilliant panellists, Katherine Ryan, John Richardson, Richard Osman and Richard Ayoade. Yes, Trump, King Salman and the Egyptian president holding a glowing globe at the opening of a new centre for combating extremist ideology. But many people saw a more sinister side to the image, thinking it was a satanic ritual. The official Church of Satan was quick to dispute this. For clarification, this is not a satanic ritual. Leading to this headline, Church of Satan distances itself from Donald Trump's evil.
I wonder who runs their Twitter feed, the Church of Satan.
I think it's Satan. I think if it has an S on the end, it's Satan himself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's staff members.
I had a look at their website this afternoon. Of
course you did.
A lot of it makes a lot of sense.
Go on.
Well, it just talks about... I know, I'm not going to start defending the Church of Satan. Trump continued with a trip to the Vatican. There was a lot of focus on pictures of the Pope looking miserable with Trump. Although the reason for the Pope's glum expression there was perhaps explained by this footage.
Nastier than the pinky, just the...
Is that fake news? That's fake news.
That's fake news, yeah. That hand is way too big to be Trump's. But even Snopes, the debunking website, felt compelled to look into that and prove that
Trump
it was fake.
actually patted the Pope on the arse. That's what they didn't get.
Diane Abbott called the bingo, wouldn't you? 6 and 1, 11 to 10.
12 to 12, yes.
Diane Abbott hasn't said anything about numbers this week, but she was asked to account for her support for the IRA in the 80s.
Yes.
What did she say?
She said she used to have a different haircut.
Yep.
What else did she need to say?
Yep. This is, she told Andrew Marr, I had a rather splendid afro at the time. I don't have the same hairstyle. I don't have the same views.
I feel she should have just said, I had a different haircut.
I think she was saying she's a different person. I mean, I don't want to speak for Diane Abbott, but she's a different person then than she is now. For example, 20 years ago, I looked like this.
Whoa. That's quite hot, actually.
Wow.
No, you've got a jacket.
Yeah.
God, you're a band or something.
I thought that was the perfect headshot for a budding actor. Now I use it as my profile pic on Grindr.
That's my screensaver.
There's a lot of hair in between the eyebrows there.
We thought we'd look at some of your old hairstyles to see if your views had changed. Rod, have your views changed since you were a young William Hague? What's the guy behind you doing with his hands?
He was nice to me for 10 minutes.
Richard, here you are in the late 90s.
Is that you?
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
Have your views changed since you filmed The Matrix? By the way, can I say, I don't think you're entering into the spirit. Have you seen the state of the rest of us in our pictures? You sent that one in.
I didn't send this in. All of my stuff is in storage or on fire.
You've got a remarkable mouth in that. Beautiful mouth you've got there.
Get a room. OK.
What happened to that mouth?
I don't know. I didn't look at
You could go back to that in a minute.
What's so bad
What's
about
wrong with
this?
that?
Hang on. What's happened? Everyone else gets to look back at their old photos and people say they look terrible.
Yeah,
but I've gone the other way. I look terrible. And now look terrible. This is what's being...
finally, Steph and Dom, here you are on the happiest day of your life. That's your wedding day, in case... I just mentioned it in case it was a bit of a blur.
Like a pterodactyl.
Yes, Steph, do you still keep bees? So, at the end of all that, the original suggestion was that Labour don't know their own figures, which I think is fair enough, but then neither does anyone else. So I'm going to put it in the Shamifesto with that amendment. That's a point for Steph and Dom.
What was the matter with the Gilbert U238 Atomic Energy Children's Chemistry Set?
Did it have uranium in it?
It sure did. That's what...
Keep going, glowing green.
That's what U238 is, yeah, absolutely. It contained uranium and other sources of alpha, beta and gamma radiation, including good, healthy polonium, which was in there. Yeah, and it included a Geiger counter and instructions on how to mine for uranium. And,
This is the start of the Iranian weapons program. We have the kit.
The packaging said it was completely safe and harmless. It was sold in 1951, 1952 for $49.50, which is about £300 now.
Whoa. So it was pricey?
It was pricey.
You wanted your polonium even then, it cost you?
And that's why they stopped making it.
Because it was too expensive?
Yeah, the margins were not good enough for them to make much of a profit on it. As you see, it says along the top, another Gilbert Hall of Science product. And
it also says exciting and safe.
Yeah. That's right, absolutely. I'm not sure those two things go together. They don't. My friend in science dared me to eat some iron filings, and I did it. I got in a lot of trouble. Because my teacher was a magnet. No, but...
Did you then draw a beard? Did you, like, move it around?
I had to go and see the head science teacher and stand in front of the whole class and explain that I'd eaten iron filings. For about 2 years, I was the boy that ate iron filings.
That's a Channel 4 documentary.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, the guy responsible was called Alfred Carlton Gilbert. And he came up with a number of sets for children. I mean, there was a chemistry set which contained ammonium nitrate, which is the principal ingredient for fertiliser bombs.
You like the stuff, the good stuff.
Yeah, you like to give kids exactly the good stuff.
Agent Orange.
The first experiment in that kit was to make gunpowder.
He just didn't like children, did he?
But his most famous invention is huge in America. It's the American equivalent of Meccano, which is called Erector. And there it is. Are there giggles from our audience? It contains the word erect. Well, there you are.
They're still all smiling out there now.
Who is wearing the pants in this picture?
Well, that's Abraham Lincoln, is it not?
Oh, God! Why is he not wearing the pants in this picture?
Oh, it's not him. Like, it's a Photoshop of him. Oh, no, painting shop.
Painting shop. OK, so there's a very, very famous portrait of the president, Abraham Lincoln. But in 1957, there was a photojournalist called Stefan Laurent, and he was getting together pictures of Abraham Lincoln for a book rather cunningly titled Lincoln, a picture story of his life, when he noticed that Lincoln had a mole, and in this picture, it was on the wrong side of his face. And he knew that because Lincoln's head appears on the $5 bill. There it is, and the head had been reversed. And this is a very early forerunner of Photoshop. Interestingly, the body is that of a Southern politician called John Calhoun, and he was vehemently pro-slavery. So the body of somebody who's very pro-slavery is being used for the portrait of a man who, in the end, managed to abolish slavery.
It was the Russians.
What?
The Russians that meddled.
Yes, I think you're right, and we'd know that from reading Lincoln's tweets.
Yes.
So it's a composite picture. It was done by an artist called Thomas Hicks, and he is not wearing the pants because it's nothing to do with his body. But manipulating images is one of the oldest things. So in 1939, there's a photograph of King George VI with the Canadian Prime Minister and the Queen Mother, and the Canadian Prime Minister wanted to use it for an election poster, and he thought he'd look stronger and more the man in charge if the King wasn't in the picture, so he was just removed.
Looks like a really easy game of spot the difference.
And And another wonderful one, 1942, picture of Mussolini on a horse, and he thought he didn't look butch enough because there was a guy holding the horse, so the handler is, I don't know, gone, just disappeared entirely, so that Mussolini looked a bit more butch.
So this is the opposite of self-inserting.
Yeah. And in some cases, actual elimination. There's a very famous photo of Stalin with his secret police official, Nikolai Yezhov.
It's not so secret.
Well, he fell out of favour. He was executed.
Oh,
and then
he fell in the river, sorry.
No, well... But he was gone. He was gone from the picture and gone
Shame
from...
he's gone, he didn't just put someone else in.
What, like Mickey Mouse or something?
What starts with M and nearly destroyed the world 470 million years ago?
Magneto.
I can feel us being led by this image.
Yes.
In a direction.
You're right. I'm going to warn you. I'm in a good mood. Do not say meteor or meteorite or meteoroid.
Looks like the logo for MasterChef.
Which is branding a pterodactyl. But,
a mirthquake.
A mirthquake? That's what we hope happens here every week.
Is it mitochondria? Is it something like bacterial that...
Well, it's a life form, you're absolutely right. It's a life form that destroyed all other life forms, virtually, on Earth. It was the Ordovician Silurian extinction event. But it begins with M, this particular life form. It got rid of all the oxygen... Sorry?
Mouse.
Wasn't a mouse. You've got the right consonants.
Consonants, all right. M
and a sir. M and a sir. It's wonderful how he's coming on, isn't it? It's moss.
Moss?
Moss, yes. Moss is the answer.
Oh, how boring.
Yeah, hard to believe, moss. It was like a phage. It ate away at rocks, even,
Hey, look,
altering them
there's
chemically.
an iceberg like your clitoris.
If
you just joined the show.
I can usually predict almost everything that's going to be said on this show, but there's an iceberg like your clitoris. There's a new one.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Don't just work with what you see. Yeah, you've got to work with more underneath
moss on it, is there?
Yes, mate. Keep the moss on. What's wrong with you? You don't want to look a child. Wear your moss and be proud, ladies.
You're right.
Interestingly, you only get moss on the north side of a lady.
Seems fair.
Oh, Lord.
Depends how long she's been at the bus stop.
There's types of moss that destroy other types of moss, but it takes, like, sort of, you know, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But if you were to watch it, you would see what is essentially a horrible war.
There's moss that destroys itself, like Kate Moss. Well, this moss used to eat the rocks and it would create a chemical reaction with phosphorus and which reacted with CO2, sucked it from the atmosphere. So it was a whole series of these reactions. And that used up almost all the oxygen, destroying life forms everywhere. It took about 35 million years for this process to work, and it was 470 million years ago.
We should keep an eye on moss now.
I think we should. Yeah.
It's an idea again to take over.
I've always had my suspicions about moss.
Have you? Bitching about liching.
Which horny member of royalty is immune from any form of legal prosecution? Yes.
Prince Andrew.
It's going to be something with horns?
Yes.
Is it like a royal cow or something?
No, there should be.
The
I think.
royal cow.
That's a snail, what you're
Brian from Magic Roundabout.
Oh.
Who was it? Florence and Dougal.
And there was the one who's based on Bob Dylan, the rabbit.
And he was stoned all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It was the 70s. You were allowed to be stoned in a children's cartoon.
Helen, did you say?
Dylan,
Yeah, Dylan, yeah.
Dylan. Yes, we just said that.
We said
That person
just woke up.
was absorbed.
Dylan, I'm talking about Magic Roundabout! Dylan!
The guy's just beginning to get the hang of mind reading. Come on out, horny member of royalty.
In the context of the occult,
Yes.
who is a horny royal?
The devil.
The devil is exactly right.
You can't prosecute the devil?
No. So, 1971, there was an American called Gerald Mayo attempted to sue the devil, and there is the case. The United States, ex-royal Gerald Mayo versus Satan and his staff. And it was heard by the US District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Mr. Mayo alleged Satan has, on numerous occasions, caused plaintiff misery and unwarranted threats. Against the will of the plaintiff, Satan has placed deliberate obstacles in his path and has caused the plaintiff's downfall. The first point that was raised by the judge, a man called Gerald J. Weber, was that he wasn't sure that they could prosecute Satan, as Satan was technically a foreign prince, and if sued, he might be able to claim immunity.
Surely it's a typo. He meant Stan.
And in the end, they refused his request because nobody could find an address to serve the Satan the papers.
Yes, you have to put it in their hand, don't you?
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Wow.
But do you know about the devil's advocate? Do you know about that?
Avocado.
As in being one.
Well, it's a Roman Catholic thing. the
Yeah,
devil's
as in to
advocate.
play devil's advocate.
Well, that's where the phrase comes from, but it used to be a proper job, and it was the job of the devil's advocate to argue the case against proposed sainthood. So his job was to say, this person's going to come up to be a saint. I don't think it's a good idea. It was got rid of by Pope John Paul II in 1983, and the number of saints just shot. Thank you for watching.